So up to this point we've been working on various instruments individually, and what we're going to do in this video is make an attempt to put some of them together. So what you can see in front of you here, first of all, I have a short 2-bar segment here. We'll be looking at that on its own first, and then I've taken those 2 bars and fleshed it out into a larger piece of music, which you can see over all this area over here. So first of all, I'm going to play these 2 bars so you can have a listen to it. I've just set the looper there, so we'll hear it a couple of times. So you can hear that despite the fact that there's only 3 instruments, the sound is quite full. We're using patterns that you would have come across before in the previous videos, including the sparse melody that we discussed in the melody video and the offbeat bass line that we discussed in the bass line video. And the first thing you would probably want to try and do is to attempt and compose something like this of your own. So we're talking either 1 or 2 bars of music that features 3 instruments that you can potentially loop indefinitely to create your first piece of music. That's what your first task should be. Once you're comfortable with that, you can attempt to take the 2 bars you've composed and flesh them out into a bigger piece, just as I have done over here in this second one. Just going to turn off the looper there. And these 2 bars here are the same as these 2 bars here, and this whole area here is the same 2 bars looped over and over again. Over here, you see the same thing comes back in. So actually, most of this large piece of music is just this repeated. And what we've done to add a bit of variety in is the start. We have a 4-bar introduction, which doesn't have any melody in it, so that differentiates it a little bit from the main section. And then later on we have a drum breakdown, so there's no melody or bass at all. And the purpose of that is again for variety, so that when the main part of the song comes back in, it sounds a little bit fresh because you haven't heard it in a while. So I'll leave that track play for you and you'll get an idea of it there. So you can hear there, with relatively small adjustments, we've managed to turn our 2-bar piece of music into something a good deal longer. And again, it doesn't have to be complicated. So you can see here we've achieved a lot with a little. There was only drums there was nothing else. Here there was only drums and bass. And even here, the full 2-bar sequence that we've used earlier, it's using the sparse melody, and there, there's not the full bass line that you might have here. We're only using 1 note. So you can do quite a lot with little if you're careful about it. So for this video, you have 2 tasks to do. They'll be a little bit more complex than what you've done before. One is to compose your either 1 or 2-bar loop. And the second is, once you're comfortable with that, attempt to turn it into a longer piece of music. You can use some of the ideas for variation that you've seen here, such as the drum breakdown or the intro, or you can come up with your own if you feel like it. But definitely have a go at attempting to flesh out the music into a longer period of time.